Hello, everyone, and welcome to our online distance learning session with Dr. Christina. Thank you, Christina, for your time. Christina will be talking about the One Health and Infectious Disease program. I'll pass on to Dr. Christina.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Christina. I will be talking to you a little bit about our MSc in One Health and Infectious Disease, which is entirely online. So I don't know what other sessions you have attended on this online event today. So maybe some of the things that I'm saying are a bit repetitive, but if they are, please don't worry to tell me to move on if should that be necessary. Okay, so we'll probably talk not so much about the University of Glasgow, but more about One Health research that is done at the University of Glasgow. And then I'll tell you a little bit about the program and the online learning environment. And it says here you should be on mute, but it also says here, please ask questions during the session using the Q&A section, but actually I'm quite happy for you to add questions to the chat or just put your hands up and I can answer them there and then. Or if we have time, we can have a few minutes at the end. So we'll see how that goes. So let me do some introductions. So here you can see myself and our program deputy lead. So I'm a parasitologist and I'm specializing in tropical medicine. I also run a different program, Diploma in Tropical Medicine and Hygiene. I have worked for quite a few years in various different One Health subject research areas. And I'm also a podcast co-host if you are interested in parasites. And then Rachel is our deputy program lead. So she has a background in animal behavior and she's particularly interested in climate change and how that influences movement and distribution and also behavior. And she does some other things at the university as well. So between the two of us, we share leading responsibilities, but we also co-lead courses and generally we're a really friendly team. Always happy to answer questions and yeah, very approachable. So that's the key actors. And if you choose to do our master's program, you'll obviously meet quite a few other people as well. So let me just give you a definition of One Health in case this is not something that you are familiar with. So this is the WHO definition that I have chosen, but if you do a Google search, you'll probably find quite a few different definitions. But essentially, One Health is an integrated, unifying approach that aims to sustainably balance and optimizing the health of people, animals, and ecosystems. So it's quite holistic. The concept also recognizes that the health of humans, domestic and wild animals, plants, and the wider environment, including ecosystems, are closely linked and interdependent. So yeah, that would be the definition that we would be working on. But that is something that actually on our courses we discuss in some detail and everybody will come away with their own interpretation of One Health as they finish the course. And I see there's a chat here. Oh, that was you. Okay. I just thought there was a chat question for me there already. So I'll just move that window aside and carry on. So kind of on the background of things, of recent big events that happened, I just kind of want to highlight how important it is to really have a holistic approach to our health. And I'm saying our health, but by this, really, I want to include people and animals and the environment. So when I say our, I mean everything. So, we have, for example, we've had the COVID-19 pandemic, and that was kind of a bit of a wake-up call about the global threat of infectious disease. Then there's the ongoing issue with climate change that is really quite problematic. And we've seen quite a few, like the 2024 was the hottest year on record. So, and there seems to be each following year seems to be a little bit hotter, and there has been very severe weather event as well. So that is an issue that we consider. And then we have antimicrobial resistance. That's also a really big problem that we face. currently, and then also mobility of people and animals. And that's just a few things that I'd like you to think about when you kind of maybe consider One Health. So these are aspects or issues that are really important in our very connected world and have a big impact on everybody's health. So, okay. And just to kind of hammer that in a little bit more, so put in here some headlines. For example, we have here at the bottom right a headline that says that we need to really make more effort to fight antimicrobial resistance, because, you know, if infections become not treatable, that is really problematic. And then we have swine fever, so that's African swine fever. That is a really big threat, not only to domestic swine and therefore food security, and also the economics of countries that are affected and very big on pig husbandry, but you know, it has also a really big impact on biodiversity. For example, on wild pigs on some remote islands in the Malaysian archipelago, for example, just some examples. And then I've already mentioned the consecutive heat records here. And then obviously you will probably also reading the news about the bird flu that is really increasingly challenging. So, and this is really just setting the scene why I think you might want to consider our One Health program. So, so the University of Glasgow actually has quite a large basis for One Health research and also teaching. And you can Google that if you like, and you will come up with some really interesting projects. I really encourage you to have a wee look. One Health Research, University of Glasgow, and you can follow some of the projects. Some have passed, some are just starting, but all of them are really, really interesting. And they're from all over the world as well. And so I think that is a really good basis to build and develop an MSc in One Health and infectious disease, really, because we have that kind of research that can lead to some excellent teaching that we have. So, and then the other thing I want to say is that, you know, that we do have a really good understanding here of disease threats and prevention. We also do consider cultural and societal factors. We look at economic aspects and also policy making. So I think that is really quite broad, but also varied and interesting. So you'll certainly never get bored. And then another thing, and I suppose that's why many of you are here this evening, is that studying online is really flexible. So you don't need to relocate, don't really need to pause your career. So you can really study and be part of a community from the comfort of your armchair at home. And actually, I would say probably about 98% of our current students are working full time. Many of them have caring responsibilities, and every one of them is actually able to follow the program successfully. So I think studying online is really a wonderful way of learning something new. So, and just want to actually tell you a little bit more about One Health at the University of Glasgow. So, essentially, there are groups that work across the global south, for example, but we also have projects in Scotland and the rest of the UK, and they have made significant impact on national and international agendas. And I'm just going to give you two examples here. So, for example, Glasgow researchers aim to improve, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to move the chat window because I can't read what I said. So, there's groups that aim to improve our understanding of how climate change could increase the risk of mosquito-borne disease in Scotland, and thereby enhancing our preparedness. So that is a really interesting project that is currently ongoing. And another example that I want to give you is that Glasgow research groups are really at the forefront of a global push to eliminate rabies. So two good reasons to come here. Now, if I just tell you a little bit about the outcomes, so you will be learning a core set of skills, so a lot of academic skills. You will acquire a lot of knowledge and competencies, and you will do that by actually studying a big choice, a really large variety of specialized subjects. So we are really student-centered. We do really encourage that you dig deep and that you explore and that you develop a curious mind. I think for me, my favorite students are those who are curious, not necessarily those that, get the best grades, but students that would like to expand on their knowledge and they would like to explore topics that they're maybe a little bit uncomfortable with. And we also would like you to dig deep, really. So, so broad and deep. And really, we will train you, or we will help you to apply those skills that you've learned, and that's academic, but also kind of transferable skills. For example, you will be able to lead discussions, or you will be able to actually maybe judge whether a particular piece of information that you read is factually correct, or if it is a piece of misinformation. And I think that is really quite important and will help you to synthesize various approaches. And actually, the main focus is really on infectious diseases, because One Health is quite a broad topic. Just to give you a flavor of the courses that we do, and I maybe just pick out a couple of the courses that I lead myself. So we start off, all our students in the first year, they do the same courses. So it's a core curriculum. And we start off with Themes in One Health, which really kind of is a 5-week course that really digs quite deep into the concept of One Health. And we learn about collaborations and how can you work across multiple sectors, for example, at the academic sector, but also governmental sector. So that's an introductory course. And we really kind of, each of us, we will form by the end of this course a good understanding of what One Health means to each of us, and we'll share that with your fellow students. That's really good. We just keep an eye on the time. And then we have a policy course, and I'm currently running Emerging Infectious Diseases, which is a really fun course. We have a very strong focus on climate change, and then we cover antimicrobial resistance, and you have quite a few other options that you can take as well in the second year. So if you wanted to read a little bit more about each of these courses, you can do that on our webpage. The entry requirements will be the same for all the programs if you're attending different sessions this afternoon. So there's a 2-1 honours degree or equivalent. And if you're not sure, then you can probably get in touch with our admissions teams and find out, would I qualify? We do also, and I would like to really stress that, we do really also consider professional experience. So if you've done your degree quite a long time ago and you would like to get back into education, or maybe you don't quite meet the criteria for your degree qualification, we do also consider professional experience. And obviously, it was ideal if you have quite good English skills. So career prospects. So we have, for example, at the very bottom, actually, just recently, one of our previous students, I've received an email from her, and her new email signature is that she is an independent One Health consultant, and she's been doing quite a lot of consultancy work. We do have people who went on to do a PhD, and we also have a few people who went on to actually work for international organizations, for example, the WHO. Obviously, there's also more local opportunities. You could become a science communicator if that's something that you like. But that's something that we would explore with you during the program as well, because that really depends on where you come from and where you want to go to. And then just a final word, really, the online learning environment. So everything is asynchronous. We make sure that we meet the legal requirements for accessibility. So we cater for all sorts of different requirements so that everybody can study with us. We use discussion boards, we have interactive videos, we run journal clubs. And you will be fully supported in that as well. So for example, in the first course, we will teach you some of the key skills that you will need to have to be a successful online learner. And then there's also access to the library, and you can also view your content offline. And what I think is really useful is because lots of you will be learning on the go, you can actually use any type of device to do your learning, so that you can do your learning on the train, or you can do it on your desk or at your desk in your office. So whatever works best for you. And I've kind of summarized here the key facts. But I think I'm not going to really talk through that in any detail, because you can find that information online. And our preferred start is September, but we do have some flexibility in that. So I think that's probably all I wanted to say. Let me see if there's any questions on the chat. Right, so someone innocent is asking, is One Health the same as global health? And if not, what is the key difference? So I think global health is essentially very anthropocentric, so very human focused. And whereas One Health also takes into consideration animal health and the environmental health. So I think it's broader. One Health is much broader. Global health often has a focus on maybe public health, human public health. One Health is essentially broader, I would say. At the top of my head, it's quite a difficult question. So that's something that we do actually discuss on one of our courses, themes in One Health. So that'd be something that we could discuss in more detail then. Does anyone have any other questions? There's none on the chat, I think, but feel
One of
free
the
to.
questions we get a lot is how students can structure the daily professional careers with being a student, and what are the how many hours they need to put in on a daily basis.
Yeah, so I think the hours are a bit flexible. It depends a little bit on where you come from. So what's your educational background? It probably depends a bit on the course. But for example, a 10 credit course, which usually lasts 5 minutes, that would be equivalent to about 100 notional learning hours. And that probably breaks down into probably about 20 learning hours per week. But by learning hours, so this is really what the average student might be expected to do to meet the intended learning outcome. But I think there's a lot of, it's very flexible. So, you may have a 1 hour lecture, for example, on one of my courses, and then I might ask you to read a journal article, and that might take 20 minutes to an hour, depending on, how how familiar you are with the topic. And then we always ask you to do a task together with your class that might take up another hour. And then you do have some reading to do. So it can feel quite intense, but we do usually, make sure that our students know to get in touch with us and say, I'm really struggling. What is the minimum that I need to do? Or I have a bit of extra time this week. what extra things could you suggest to me? So we have essential learning tasks for each week, but we also offer additional learning tasks, really depending on your time. And you can do that anytime, you know, you can do that during the night or during the morning. There isn't a set timetable, and I think that is really attractive if you are working or if you have children to care for or elderly parents. I think that's very attractive.
Finished our time.
Sorry?
I think we have finished our
Yep,
scheduled time.
yep,
Thank you so much, Christina, for your time
no
and for
problem
all
at all.
who attended as well.
Okay, so you can also email me. You can find the details on our website. You can also just Google me. So I always reply to all emails. Sometimes it takes a couple of days, but I'm very approachable. And as is Rachel Finley Robinson, my deputy program lead. So thank you for coming along. And maybe I'll see some of you in September. Have a lovely evening.